This is Rosen Institute's Your Law Firm, where Lee Rosen and Ned Days cover management, marketing, finance, and new technologies for building the practice you deserve. Here's Lee Rosen.
It's good to be with you from Đà Lạt, Vietnam. We've been here now for about 2 weeks. It's a very pleasant mountain town. It's at about 5,000 feet. The temperatures are relatively cool for Southeast Asia. And what this town has that lots of other places in Asia do not have is clean air. The air is so nice and clean. It's very breathable. Asia, big place. The majority of the people in the world live here, about 60%. And in most big cities, you simply can't count on having clean air. It's something that a lot of us in the rest of the world take for granted, but in many Asian cities, you simply can't. You can't count on that. So today, because clean air is so on my mind and in my lungs, I'm reminding you not to take the clean air that you have for granted. It's a nice thing to have.
It's time for your tech tip. I have 4 browser extensions for you today. These are all available in the Chrome Web Store and should work in any browser that supports Chrome plugins, so Brave, Edge, Vivaldi, Orion, and lots of others. The first 3 are simple but offer big quality of life improvements. They are what I will call old school extensions, augmenting your browser with a useful extra feature or two. But the last one is an entirely different kettle of fish that I think will not only be useful for you, but an interesting way to create and distribute tools and workflows to your team. First up is an obvious one. It's been around for years. It's Apple's iCloud Passwords extension. This has been available on Windows machines since it was released, but Apple, being Apple, didn't make it available for Mac users out of what I have to assume was spite and an attempt to force people into using Safari instead. If you are a Mac and Chrome user, you will know that the built-in keychain/passwords functionality on your Mac and iPhone did not work with Chrome until very recently when this extension was updated to bring the functionality to Chrome on the Mac. Despite the fact that it has a dismal 2.4 star rating, it makes life so much easier if you are in the Apple ecosystem but are also a Chrome user. All of your passwords saved in your Apple keychain are now available everywhere you need them. Next up is Better History, which you can find at betterhistory.io. It is pretty easy to guess what this one does. The Chrome history window is okay if you just need to find something you visited in the last 10 minutes or so, but if you are browsing and using lots of websites in the course of a day, to say nothing of a month, tracking down what you were looking at is a real chore. Better History comes with a built-in search engine for better searching of your history, a very handy date and time viewer, the ability to filter based on which device you were using, standard keyword and time filters, as well as a blacklist for specific domains so they don't show up in your search. This is particularly handy if you are searching for fairly broad terms and happen to visit a news website or even watch a lot of YouTube videos regularly that include that term and pollute your search results, making it very difficult to find. Next is Video Speed Controller. If you are like me, you prefer to speed up most videos on the web and watch them more quickly. And thankfully, most video players offer that option these days. But doing that for every video on every site is a little tedious. Video Speed Controller gives you universal keyboard shortcuts and a universal video overlay to adjust playback speed up or down. You can even set your preferred speed detents if you regularly want to use something very niche like 1.6x, and you can apply global speed settings too. Our last plugin is the most interesting and the most powerful. It's called Mind Studio, and you can find it at mindstudio.ai. It provides a toolbar with AI agents that you can run on the content in your browser, be it a web page, PDF, or anything else. They have a bunch of built-in agents, things like an email finder, a summary generator, a YouTube summary to generate a quick synopsis of a YouTube video, a fact check option to verify claims made in an article, a side-by-side product comparison. There are a bunch of social media agents for things like turning an article into a tweet storm or turning a YouTube video into an X thread. Very useful if you want to borrow content from someone else's social media to your own feed on another platform, and a whole lot more. Now, you can do most of this with a lot of copying and pasting back and forth with your preferred AI chatbot, but being able to do it with a button press from the web page itself is very convenient. I logged into my health insurance website and brought up a list of in-network podiatrists near me. I started the email finder agent, and then I realized there weren't any email addresses listed on the page. It was just phone numbers and mailing addresses. So I expected this to fail, but a few seconds later, the agent presented me with a list of all the doctors on the page, asked me to select which ones I wanted, which I did, and then went looking on the web for their emails. It gave me a list telling me where it found each one and how confident it was that the email was correct. Pretty impressive for just a button press. Now, while the built-in agents are pretty useful for basic tasks and some basic web scraping, you also have the ability to create your own agents. This is pretty easy. You select your AI model from a list of dozens, including the latest ones from Google, OpenAI, Meta, and more. You stitch together workflow steps and prompts for generating text, images, incorporating data from the web page you're on, and searching the web for additional information. You can trigger these with a button in the Chrome sidebar, a schedule, or via email. With a quick prompt and a little bit of dragging and dropping, you then get a button right in your toolbar that you can run on any web page you like. MindStudio has a free plan that gives you access to their ready-to-use agents. The paid plans start at $24 a month plus AI processing fees, and they include access to some of the more sophisticated pre-built agents, as well as the ability to build your own. The $24 plan also includes up to 10 collaborators. We've talked about web scraping tools before, but something like MindStudio strikes me as a much easier and potentially more useful way to give your team and contractors access to dedicated tools for content generation, deep research, and extracting data from web pages or directories that aren't easily accessible or parsable if you need to scoop up lots of details in a hurry. We used to have lots of documentation for the complicated process involved in grabbing information on referral sources from directories and databases, and that can now be pretty easily turned into a button press and shared with anybody who needs it. I'm Ned Days, and that's your tech tip.
And now for your moment of concise advice. Back in the day, I spent months optimizing our website. It was already great, but I could always make it better. I figured out ways to cause the pages to load faster. I rewrote the copy so that it was sharper. We worked on the design to make it cleaner. And every improvement, it felt like progress for the law firm. But at the same time, we had much bigger problems threatening our business. Our website was working as is. It didn't need all that improvement. What we needed were lawyers who could actually close clients at consults. We needed lawyers who were good at sales, and hiring those lawyers, that was a nightmare. It was a big problem. I didn't know how to do it. We had no clear process, no sure way to find and train the right people, and it was uncomfortable. It was difficult. It was uncertain. It was frustrating. So I avoided that problem. I preferred to dither with the website than to work on figuring out a way to solve this lawyer hiring problem. I worked on what felt productive, fixing things that I knew how to fix, while I ignored the one thing that actually made a big difference to the success of our law firm. And unfortunately, many of us do exactly what I did. We work on things that don't matter while ignoring the big problems, and we get stuck. We focus on what's familiar instead of what's important. We focus on what we know how to solve rather than what matters. We spend our days tweaking things that make incremental improvements rather than attacking the problems that could create massive change. You see it over and over again. You see it everywhere. The firm that keeps fine-tuning its Google ads instead of building a real referral network that would bring in the high-value clients. Or the firm that spends weeks stretching the life of outdated software instead of upgrading to automation tools that would double their efficiency. Or the owner of a law firm who puts off raising the law firm's rates because it feels uncomfortable, choosing instead to waste hours reworking an intake form as if it's going to solve their revenue problem. Busy work, it feels like progress, but it's not. The real problems, the ones that will change everything, they are the ones that you and we are avoiding them. We must focus on the real problems, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how awkward, no matter how difficult. So here's what you do. Number one, you name the problem that you are dodging. You already know what it is. It's the one that you keep pushing to later because you don't know how to solve it. Number two, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Big problems, they don't have quick fixes. You'll feel stuck. You will fail. You will want to go back to the easy stuff. Push through it. Number three, block out time to work on it. If you don't carve out the time for the hard, meaningful work, the little distractions, they will always take over. Number four, stop mistaking effort for impact. Just because something takes time and energy, it doesn't mean it's valuable. If it's not solving your biggest problem, it's just keeping you busy. Eventually, I forced myself to solve my hiring problem. It took longer than I wanted it to. I made bad hires. I adjusted. I got better. I kept moving forward. And when I cracked it, when I solved it, when I fixed it, it changed everything. So take a look at what it is that you are working on. If it feels comfortable, if it feels safe, if it makes you feel productive, but it doesn't move the needle, then it's likely the wrong thing. You already know what your biggest problem is, so now go fix it. That is your moment of concise advice. Wrapping up from Đà Lạt, Vietnam. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me and Ned today. We hope you have a great weekend and an even better week next week. Keep plugging away, moving forward, and getting things done. You're on the right track. You'll get there, I promise. We're all in this together, and together we build better practices through better marketing, better management, and better technology. Until next time, I'm Lee Rosen.
Thanks for listening to Your Law Firm. Subscribe to the Friday File at roseninstitute.com and join thousands of lawyers focused on working on, instead of in their practices. You'll find safe, successful, actionable approaches for transforming your firm. Sign up for free at roseninstitute.com.